Video. Hello there, Nigel Moore here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to manage unsubscribes inside Growably. As we all know, pretty much every state, territory, country around the world has rules around allowing people to unsubscribe from your email. So every email that you send out to marketing prospects should allow them to click on something to be able to unsubscribe from your emails. Now, inside Growably, there is two main ways that you can do this. The first way is quite easy. First way is quite easy, nice and simple, but not very customizable. The second way is much more fancy, much more complicated, but gives a slightly different customer experience. So I'm going to show you through both of them. Now, if you're using Growably, you are very likely connected up your own Mailgun account in there. Most people are using their own Mailgun account, so they have complete control in there. And inside your Mailgun account, you will have added a domain or a subdomain in here that will show up in the sending section over here. In this particular test here, I've just added email.thetechtribe.com. You may use your high-level domain, as in thetechtribe.com, to send emails through Growably. You may use a subdomain if you want to have threaded conversations inside Growably. That's up to you. There's pros and cons of each, and I won't get into that on this particular video. But in this video here, if you're using Mailgun and you just want to simply add an unsubscribe link to the bottom of every single email that goes outside or out of Growably, then you come into here, make sure you've got your domain selected. Down the bottom here, you will see this in the tracking section. You've got this section here called unsubscribes. You literally click on the edit button here and turn it on. It will likely be off by default. I think it's off by default. When you turn it on, you then get this little button here that says Customize Unsubscribe Template. So if you click on it, you then get to see what you then get to control, what text you're going to put in the footer of your emails. Now, as we all know, 90-something% of emails that get sent nowadays get sent via HTML, so you probably won't be using this one up here. The default one that Mailgun put in here is kind of boring, like the word unsubscribe in lowercase. So I'd encourage you to put something in here like, if you want to ahref blah 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 unsubscribe, if you then we'll be sad to see you go, something like that. Like, you can come up with your own whatever. I'm just making it up on the fly. You save that. I'm going to click cancel here because I don't want it in mine, and I'm going to turn this off in mine anyway because this is just a test account and we do it a different way. Which I'll show you in a minute. But that's how you do it if you want Mailgun to use a Mailgun inbuilt unsubscribe system, which works beautifully, highly reliably, and the only one thing that this system doesn't do is it doesn't talk back to Growably by default to tell Growably that a person unsubscribed. So if you want to see that data inside Growably against a contact, you will need to go and do something like set up a Zap. There is, Zappia's got integration into Mailgun and Lead Connector. Lead Connector is Growably's /High Levels generic brand that they use for everything out there. So all you would be doing is creating a Zap that says, on this one here, that's a Mailgun trigger Zap on new unsubscribe event. So the trigger is new unsubscribe event. And this one here is the action will be add update contact. And you might, if someone unsubscribes from through your Mailgun process there, using that link in those emails, you might want to add a note to them inside Growably, or you might want to tag them with a tag that says they've unsubscribed, that then puts them into a workflow that does something in the back end. There's a million different things you can do that you might want to consider doing all of that stuff when you get a little bit more complicated or a little bit more experienced in email marketing. But for now, most people can get by with just the very basics in there, knowing that if you want to check whether someone's unsubscribed, you just have a look in your Mailgun here, and knowing that the data won't be showing in Growably whether they're unsubscribed, but Growably will not send them any emails because it's sending them the emails through your Mailgun integration, and Mailgun has been advised by the user to not send them any emails, so they won't get any even if Growably still tries to send them the email. So that is option one, the nice and easy option, the quick option, the option that probably 95% of you will want to use because it gets you up and running nice and quickly. If, however, you want to use the more advanced option that we've created a framework for you to do inside the library, inside Growably, here is how it goes. And I'm going to move through it pretty quickly because I don't want to overload you all in one go. But with a little bit of tweaking, there's probably a few minor things that I miss out of this thing, but with a little bit of tweaking, you'll figure them out pretty easily. And if you ever get stuck, just jump on the support chat or the support with the Growably support team, and they can help out with some of those things. So the way it works is this. If you go into your Growably, and I'm in one of our master tenants here, a snapshot tenant, and you go into the site section here, we've loaded in some email management pages for you here in a folder that you can see called Tech Tribe Email Management Pages. And when you go into those pages, you'll see that there's 2 pages that we've created in here, an email preference center and an email settings updated page. And both of them are just individual pages. If we look at each one, the email preference center one is just this page here. It's just created with the Growably page builder with a form on it. And you'll see it grabs the person's email address and it gives them some options here, which is a little bit more advanced than just a generic unsubscribe link. So this one here is the person can choose whether they want to snooze, i.e. they might need a break for 3 months, or you can customize that to whatever you want. You can add your own in here if you really want to, like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 weeks, whatever it happens to be. Or unsubscribe, please don't contact me again. And what I'll show you later on is that those things then go and trigger workflows inside Growably to go and do different things for based on the option that they choose here. So that's the email preference center. When it's fully loaded, it looks like this. Now you need to obviously you need to put your logo here and your color here and stuff like that. That is all managed, as you'll see in here, like that logo here. You'll see here it's managed by a custom value. So it says custom values logo dark background. And so instead of on this particular form here going and adding your logo on here, what you really should do is go into the custom values section inside your settings in Growably and just change it once. And you'll see in here there's a logo dark background value here, this one right here. And here's the value of it. I've uploaded it to the media library and I've just saved the URL of it. And that means wherever and whenever I use that custom variable right there throughout the whole of the Growably platform, it will put my logo in it, whatever I've set inside that particular custom value in there. So I don't have to go and upload logos every time. I don't have to add logos every time. I can literally just use that variable every time. And if I update a color on my logo one day, or I update my logo branding one day or whatever, I update it then in one spot here, and Bob's your uncle. You don't have to update it everywhere across everything. So that's what the custom value is for. And that will then turn out and look like this. The second page that you've got in there that you would have seen in here is the email settings updated page. And that's just this page here, again, using your custom logo up here. And you can see that there's a background color there. That background color corresponds with whatever background color you've got set in your dark background color field here. We use that because that's Growably and the Tech Tribe's dark background color. Yours might be dark blue or dark red or whatever it happens to be. Or you might stick with dark gray. Dark gray is pretty easy, common one that gets used around everywhere. And so when you save that, this is what this page looks like. Nice and simple. You can put photos. You can change it out to whatever you want. It's kind of basic at the moment. But that's showing you the 2 pages that are created. Now, that's not the end. There is a bunch of workflows and stuff that go behind the scenes that make all of that stuff work when someone goes and ticks one of these things and goes through the process. And the first part of that is that when someone goes and does all of that, they then get put into a workflow inside Growably. Now, Growably is a marketing automation tool, so it allows you to create workflows and complex campaign style things for pretty much anything you can possibly dream up using this workflow editor in the automation section here. And so if you go to that workflow section, you'll see in there that we've created a folder called email preferences. And if you go in there, we've created you 2 sample workflows in there. And if we have a look at just one here, the completely unsubscribed one, if I go into that, you'll see that what happens is if a user goes and selects the completely unsubscribe option on here, it adds a note to their contact in Growably saying this particular contact requested to completely unsubscribe from the email conference center. Then it sets the contact to DND. DND means that Growably will not try and send this person any more emails or any more texts at all via Growably. That makes it nice and simple. You can get specific on that and make it for specific channels like email versus SMS and whatever, and you can go deep with that if you want. And then it removes from all the workflows except for the current workflow that they're currently in, because you don't want to remove them from this one and then get kicked out of this one at the same time. But it removes from any campaign workflows. Now, you may or may not want to keep that one in there, depending on how you have your workflows running. But if they don't want to be contacted by you and they've asked to completely unsubscribe, then it's best to remove them from any other campaigns or workflows or anything that you've created. The second workflow, so that's the completely unsubscribe one. The second one is the 90-day snooze one, and that's pretty much the same. It turns on the D&D flag, so Growably cannot send them any emails for the next 90 days. What is it? 90 days. Oh, yeah. So, 3 months. It adds the note and says this person requested on the email preference center to have a 90-day snooze from marketing. This here is just a custom variable that gets passed through, and so variables work all the way throughout Growably. There's tons of ways to use variables, which makes it nice and easy to use. The next step then is it waits for 90 days. That's nice and simple, and then after that it turns off DND, and it adds the note saying 90 days has passed. Contact email requested the snooze, so their D&D status has now been turned back off, and they will start to receive your emails again. Notice in this one, we don't remove them from any workflows because they didn't ask to completely unsubscribe. Again, your personal preference might change that around a little bit, and you might do it whatever way you want to do it in there. But that's the workflows that happen from there. Very briefly, inside your sites section, you will also find the form that we embed on that email preference center page here. This page here has got a form embedded on it. And that form there hasn't been built with the page builder here. It's an embedded form from the form section inside Growably, which you can see here. We've got in the form section up here under sites, you've got this email preference center. And you can go in here and you can click edit. And you'll be able to see in here the form, and you can edit and tweak and custom fields and do all sorts of whatever you want to do in here. You can ask them questions. You can ask them a reason why they unsubscribe. You can do whatever you want. This is the awesome thing about a tool like Growably is you can customize this to your heart's content. Please don't to get started with, because you get overwhelmed and really you just got to start doing some email marketing. But as you grow and scale and start to do email marketing en masse, and maybe you're sending out 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 emails a month, then you'll want to go in and start to really heavily customize this stuff and really tweak the customer experience for people. So that's where the form is that manages that. And that form then goes and triggers these workflows in here, depending on what they did. Now, water time. As I said, inside Growably, we have this notion of custom values. And by default, we load you a bunch of custom values inside your Growably account, and we fill them up with some values over here. Now, you need to go in and fill out all of these values. Values like, what's the from email that you're going to be marketing from? It's certainly not going to be you at yourcompany.com, and your name is not going to be your name. And your logo is not going to be our put your logo here logo, which is the one you see on this thing here. That's the URL to the put your logo here logo. And it's certainly not going to be, we've got two versions of that, the dark background and the light background, and we've got our primary colors and secondary colors and all our Facebook pages and main website and everything like that all in here. You need to go into your settings area, click on custom values and update these. It'll only take you a minute or two or a couple of minutes. But then all of these custom variables here can go, or these variable names here can be used anywhere inside your Growably, or most places inside your Growably. I think 95% of places inside Growably, forms, sites, websites, email campaigns, automations, workflows, all that stuff, you can use it throughout all of it. And so the next step here is I want to show you where you can actually use this email unsubscribe center now. Like, how do you actually get that unsubscribe link to show up on their thing that sends, or on emails, that's going to send them to this particular page here when they click on it. And the way that happens is via, if you go back into these custom values here, you'll see that we've created a custom value called the email unsubscribe footer for you. So this one here. And so wherever you paste that custom value, variable name in emails or workflows or anything, it will always put in this value here. And so it's just one that we came up with. You can tweak this to your heart's content, but it just says if you want to fine tune how you receive emails from us, click here to manage your email preferences, and you'll see that the link is based on your location.website, which is based on what you have filled in your business info here for your website, / email preference center with a query string on the end, email equals contact email, which gets passed via the email. And that's oopsie, my mouse is having a weird clicking thing now that when I click on it, it sometimes drags things around the screen. But the way you deal with those things is when you're in your email preference center over here, this is where you can set all your URLs and everything on pages inside here. So if I'm in the email preference center here, I can go in here and go to my settings, and I can choose what page and what domain that on my platform that's going to show up as. At the moment, I've got test.thetechtribe.com because this is a testing account, and the URL that I've got here is /email-preference-center. And so that there, inside this custom value here would fill that out on the end of it, and the contact email. So that's the custom value. Now, how do we put that in an email when we're sending to people? And the way to do that, I went into workflows here, and I thought I'll just create a quick workflow. If you go into your workflows via the automation section over here, you can create as many workflows as you want, hundreds of them. You can put them into folders and categorize them, and we're going to push out tons of these to you over time as well. As of recording this video, we've only just recently launched Growably, and we're just getting past the hump of loading 1,000 odd users into there. So as we move past that hump, now we'll move into filling all these things out with loads of automations for you. But you can go and create your own. When you do, this is how a workflow looks when you go and first start it. You might have a workflow that's triggered on a form being filled out, or like you'll see on these ones here. Sorry, if I'll bounce back a little bit here, but if you go back to that workflow where the user asked to snooze for 90 days, the trigger to start that workflow is that the user, the form email preference center was filled out, and the user chose, I need a break for 3 months. That's what triggered them to go into this automation here. And likewise with the other workflow in here, the trigger, which kicks a person into an automation or puts a person into an automation or a workflow, is that this user's, the form is the email preference center. The workflow trigger is form submitted, and the filter is that the form is the email preference center, and the option that they choose in this particular case was unsubscribe, please don't contact me again. And that's what put them in there. And so you can do the exact same as you're building out workflows for whatever way. It might be source as a lead magnet, or they filled in a form, or they got to a certain stage in a pipeline funnel, or you had a phone call with them, or you triggered a tag, or millions of other different things. But I'm not going to go through workflow triggers in this one. You just know that you've got tons of them in here to work from. What I am going to show you is the email. And so in here, if you click on add your first action and choose an email, you get this little editor here where you can go and type up an email to a person. Now, you can name all these things. So I might call that first email, whatever it is. Might be first after. This might be a workflow that you're creating to keep in contact with people after an event. And you might put everybody into the same workflow automation after you've met them all at a conference. You might go and enter them all into Growably and tag them all to put them into this particular workflow here that's then going to nurture them and send them a couple of emails. And so in this from name here, you would typically go into here and you will go and do custom values, and you will choose the custom value of from name, which is a custom value you entered over here. And then you would go into from email, and you would choose down here custom values, and you would choose from email. And that means that even if you update these things over here, or when you update these things over here for whatever reason, they will update in every single workflow and every single thing that you've got inside Growably, rather than you having to go through and manually update them. In this particular instance, though, because I've got these ones set to you@yourcompany.com and your name, it's not going to work for me. So I'm just going to manually type these ones in just to show you the test. And because I've got this account set up to send via that domain, I need to put that domain in there. Testing, email domain. Now, you can go and use a template that you might have created before to go and add to this particular workflow here. If you've already created a template and you want to use it across multiple workflows, it saves you having to go and copy and paste it in multiple times. Or you can just type the email down here as a pseudo plain text email. So, hi, contact, first name. Great to meet you at the event. You might ask them a question. Blah, blah, blah. Cheers, Nigel. Right? And then to put the unsubscribe footer in here, you go back into custom values, go down to the custom values section down the bottom there, and you simply choose email unsubscribe footer. And you see it shows it down there. And so now if I go and add my email address in here and send a test email, within 20 seconds or so, or 30 seconds, or sometimes a couple of minutes, depending on what email queues are like all around the world, that should show up in my inbox, and you'll see, here we go, it's just popped up. If I double click on it and drag it across to here, hi, I don't have it's not going to fill in a first name there because it was just a test email. It wasn't actually sent from within inside a workflow. It was just a testing one. So it has no idea who to fill in for the first name, but great to meet you at the event. Ask the question, cheers, Nigel, blah, blah, and you'll see down the bottom here with all the BRs, it's put in this click here to manage your email preferences. And if you click on that, all going well, this might not work because I've got a test account set up here. Oh no, all going well, it sends them to the email preference center, it pre-fills their email address, and it asks them what option they want to choose in here and save my settings. And that is how it all comes together. So nice and easy in here. You just add it to the bottom of every single email that you go and send out, or every single email template that you send. You just add this unsubscribe footer down here. Again, you can update that to say whatever the heck you want it to say. You can remove some of the BRs. You can add more BRs. You can do whatever you want. You can change the font color or whatever. Don't get too fancy with it, but also keep a little bit of personality in these things. Even as someone's unsubscribing from you, you still want to maintain a pleasant experience with them. The other area that I will show you just briefly before we wrap up is if you are sending emails via the email campaign system. And so that's my email, my mouse clicking around the screen again. If you go into here and you go into marketing and click on emails up here, you've got this notion of campaigns and templates. And so you might go and create a template that you want to go out and send to people. And I'm just going to go in here and do one. For, I don't know, a once-off thing about a promotion for a cybersecurity risk assessment or some sort of spam audit or whatever it happens to be. And so you can go in here and you start to type up your email in here, and I'm just going to create crap here. By my risk assessment. Regards, Nigel. Oops, I'm probably double spacing there, which I don't need to do. And again, in this editor here, in this email template system, which is separate to the workflow system, this is just an email campaign system for like once-off emails that you send to individual people or cohorts of people via smart lists or features like that inside Growably. But again, it's got this custom values thing here. You go down to custom values and you find your email unsubscribe footer and you put it in there. You save that, and anytime that email template gets used to go and send out to people, that will, via a campaign or a workflow, that will show up down in there. So that is it. That is email unsubscribes in a nutshell. There's a few more little nuances in there. It might take you half an hour or so to run through this video and set it all up. Maybe an hour if it's your first time playing around with Growably. But once you've got it up and running, you can use this from this tab here to this tab here. As the more complicated but better user experience option for more advanced users that want to craft a different, unique experience for their users that are on their list. And to maybe save some of the people that are going to unsubscribe by giving them an option to break for 3 months. Or you can just use this basic unsubscribe link down the bottom here, which is going to get you the whole way there. You have a little bit less control and you don't see that data back in Growably unless you add some sort of Zapier connection or something to trigger every time there's an unsubscribe link to update Lead Connector. If you're not sure what Lead Connector is, head to help.thetechtribe.com and look for the Lead Connector article, which explains what it is. It's essentially a generic brand that high-level users out there for different connections and WordPress plugins and mobile apps and stuff like that. And they've got a few reasons that they do that, and I talk about them in an article. But that is, in a nutshell, how to use unsubscribes in, I don't know how long this video went for, 22 minutes. Probably the most boring video in the history of the world. I hope you didn't fall off your chair. But happy marketing. Any questions, as always, reach out to Growably support team, or if it's really Tech Tribe specific, ask it inside the Growably section inside the community. Happy marketing. All the best from me, and I'll speak to you later. Bye for now.